Months after the death of Ohio Corrections Officer Andrew Lansing, more state workers are coming forward.
Lansing was killed in a brutal attack, and those employees are warning it will happen again. They say state prisons aren't safe for corrections officers, and they don't trust leadership at the top.
My biggest worry was, what do I do if, right? What do I do if I'm attacked? And honestly, I don't know. Like, you're supposed to have officers close, so like that's your one thing to rely on.
And of course, on your side, investigator Lisa Rontilla continues to dig into Andrew Lansing's death. And Lisa, you have heard over and over again that all of this could have been prevented.
Imagine working 16-hour days on a regular basis to guard a prison population that is increasing with violent and dangerous inmates. One former corrections officer sat down with me to tell me what he calls the truth behind Ohio's prison walls. And it's that truth that the Lansing family attorney says killed Andy.
With limited access inside Ohio's prisons,
times have changed, people have changed. It's mostly a peaceful environment to be in.
Images of the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections can be found on its YouTube page. But these pictures,
You just don't realize till you're actually in there, just how bad it is.
don't tell the full story.
You would hear from different COs, someone's going to get killed. You would hear that.
That's according to this corrections officer who worked in one of the state's 31 facilities.
Did you feel the need to contact WSYX?
Well, I contacted you all because I believe that there's problems from the top down within the prison system.
We agreed not to identify him, but verified his name was listed as an ODRC officer with the state from November of last year until he left in January of this year. Understaffed.
All they really train you to do is be a dorm watcher, just watching the dorms.
He said his double time shifts and overtime were part of a series of safety concerns.
I would see COs asleep at the desk all the time.
CCOs were asleep?
Asleep. My partner just completely asleep.
And it was a 16-hour shift. Ross Correctional Officer Andrew Lansing was working Christmas Day when prosecutors say he was beaten to death by inmate Rashawn Cannon.
But what you could hear was just haunting.
Attorney Michael Benson now represents Lansing's family. He said he watched the video captured by Officer Lansing's body-worn camera and saw Cannon walk up to Lansing's post in the prison yard alone and unescorted.
Inmate Cannon was in there for violent crimes.
Yes.
He was doing time
absolutely.
for violent crimes.
Absolutely.
He should not have been roaming those grounds unescorted.
Nobody in there should be roaming the grounds unescorted.
Benson said inmate Cannon referenced the write-ups Officer Lansing issued him months earlier for drugs and disrespect, and then initiated a brutal and unprovoked attack.
I think the inmate probably was thinking there's going to be somebody running to come, beat him up or hold him, take him away, support Andy, but no one came because no one was monitoring, no one was watching.
Benson said another inmate alerted staff that Officer Lansing had been beaten to the ground. He said law enforcement told him no one took evidence to determine if inmate Cannon was drunk or high.
An officer of the law is attacked, murdered, and you don't wake a judge up to get an order to draw the blood to see if he was impaired.
The biggest thing that surprised me is literally every day I walked in there, I found people on drugs, and I'm talking pretty strong drugs.
You drive by, there's 3 rows of fences with barbed wire. How are they all high and drunk in there?
In testimony provided this year inside the Ohio State House, ODRC Director Annette Chambers-Smith said 5 employees from the food vendor Aramark have been banned from the prisons for bringing in drugs. She said more drugs come in through prison mail and other employees. The director plans to continue the food vendor's contract.
The cost savings was great, and the additional costs will also be great to switch back.
Director Chambers-Smith also listed a series of security upgrades to address the concerns of her corrections officers. But Benson says her strategies have come too late.
What is your message to the governor?
Let her go.
But Lansing will likely make a video this year.
W.H. Moorhead. Guard, 1906.
For ODRC's honor to fallen officers and memorial service.
Something has to change drastically for it to get better.
Tomorrow night, I sit down with Officer Andrew Lansing's brother, Alan, who tells me he also wants Annette Chambers-Smith gone. I seek out the governor to ask his plan after 2 corrections officers have died on the job in just 1 year's time. On your side, I'm investigator Lisa Rontalep.